what we're going to do now is we're going to do some texture painting. I'm going to show you how to actually take any texture you want and just paint it on certain areas. Now what I did here is I actually created I brought in a plane that had an image on it. So it has the image of the water. And what I did is I added some sand around, and then I added the rock on top to kind of make things, give me an instant little beach scene. So I'm going to, here I can just add another lamp here just so you can kind of see what's going on a little better. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to do this. So let's start with a new. First thing we do is we get rid of our cube and we go add mesh, and I want to bring in an image as a plane. The image I'm going to go get is on my desktop, and it's actually called water.png. So I have it here. I'm going to go in the tab into the edit mode, and from here I'm going to scale it. We'll scale it up 8, and doesn't look a whole lot there, but let me go into the texture mode, and there it is. Now what I'll do here real quick too is I'll put my screencast on for the rest of this. I had screencast going, but then when I started a new session, it kind of went away on me there. All right, and while I have my screencast here, what I'm going to do too is I'm going to go to display, and instead of multi-texture, I'm going to change this to GLSL, and I'm going to check textured solid. And that should give us everything we need for our settings. So here we're in the edit mode. I can go to object, and you can see that it's just a image on this plane. I'm going to go back in the edit mode though, and I think I'm going to subdivide this. Let me see, watching my faces till they get up to 1024. That should be good. I'm looking at my faces right up here. What we're going to do is I'm going to sculpt this, make some mountainous areas here. So I'm going to go from the edit mode into the sculpt mode. Once I do that, I get this little screen over here on the side. And the big thing we want to deal with here is I want to change the stroke. Instead of space, I want this to be art brush or airbrush. And you see the size of my cursor, I can change that with the radius up here. So if I want things a little larger, I can have the strength a little softer. You can look at your alpha here. So there's a lot that you can do here. And I'm going to just kind of sculpt through here. I want to make this my mountainous side of the beach, and I can make some large mountains here. So there we go. That'll be good for right now. So I've got this sculpted the way I want to. Now what I need to do though is I need to unwrap this. So I'm going to go back into the edit mode here, and I'm going to pull a window out here. And on this side, I'm going to change this from edit mode. I'm going to change this, or I'm sorry, for here I'm going to change this into my UV image editor. And you can see it's mapped it out already, but I haven't unwrapped it. You'll see this is very flat and very straight. As soon as I come over here, again, I'm in the edit mode, make sure that all is selected. And I hit U for unwrap, and I'm just going to hit unwrap. You'll see that this looks very topographical now. This is going to show where my hills and valleys are. And okay, we'll leave that alone. So right now it's unwrapped. So I should be good to go with this. So I'm going to take this and actually I can just go ahead and get rid of it. I'm going to join the areas and just get that back because I want some real estate here. I'm going to go up here now, and I'm going to put a material over this whole thing. And the material I'm going to choose, I think I'll just call it Oh, actually, it already has one on here, water. That was the name of the image I had. There are a lot of conversations about you don't have to have a texture or a material on to put textures. Some say you do, some say you don't. I always put one on just to make sure. But by bringing this plane in as an image, or an image in as a plane, it already has a material on it. So now I'm going to go to my textures. And I'm going to put some textures on here. It shows that I've got one, which is my water, but I want to add some more. So I'm going to come click here, and I'm going to go to New, and this is going to be an image or movie. Why is it doing that? There we go, image or movie. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to open, and I'm going to go to where my textures are. So the first one, let's see, I'll get some rock. And I want to come down here, and where it says generated, this is my mapping. I don't want it generated, I'm using a UV map. So we need to make sure that's a UV map. Then I'm going to go ahead and add another one here. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to go to New. And again, I want to change this to image or movie. Come down here, I'm going to open this, and I'm going to go get me another one. So Blender, textures, I'll go get some sand. And again, I want to make sure that this is not generated, that this is a UV mapping. So that should be good for what I need there. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to come down here and go from the edit mode. I'm going to go into texture paint. And this is the menu I get. So what I need to do here is I need to come down, and again, my radius, you see the size of my radius, it's all controlled here. I need to come down to texture. And what I want to do now is I'm going to click on this, and you'll see the textures that I've added. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my rock. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to click and drag over this. And you see I'm adding that rock texture. I'm just kind of painting that rock texture on. Have it go out into the water a little bit. Spin this around and get both sides. Ideally, you would have the back side lit a lot better than I do. But you just want to make sure you get everything covered with the texture that you want. And you can layer textures on here. It gets kind of cool too, really make things look realistic. Alright, so I'm going to go back here and click on this. Now I want my sand. Now the sand doesn't look all that great. So I can change some things with the sand. Let's see, I want to have the strength a lot less than what it is. Let's see what that does. So it gives me just a little bit of sand, and I can go over areas a few times if I want more sand. But it gives me a nice little blend here. I could do that a little stronger here and get, and let me change the radius down a little bit. And there you go. So now when you look at this, you've got some sand in there, you've got the water via the plane that I brought in. And when I go into the object mode, there it is. Now, there have been confusions in the past about, well, when you create something like this, your character just kind of walks through it. This won't. When you create your character, it will go up over the mountains, or it just won't go through the plane. But that is the basics of how you texture paint. Again, you can mix textures. You can do all kinds of fun things. So all you have to do is you bring your plane in, or whatever you want to texture paint. You have to unwrap it. Once you unwrap it, you can get rid of the UV window, and you go to texture paint and you add your textures. You can add them in texture paint. I find it's easier for me to add my textures over here in the texture window, and then when you click on texture on the other side, it pops up for you. So it's pretty easy. So have some fun with this and enjoy.